Are we treading on the line?
But one client scold me. He said, Paul, why you never tell me this earlier? I said, tell you what earlier? There is this accrued interest going on that I have to sell my HDB at a negative sale. Also, they give you the CPF and SingPass and log in. No, right?
No, they log in and
with
show
you,
me.
show you.
Log in and show me the account. And I didn't get the shock. They got the shock.
They know now, rather than they don't know, that they have to pay back CPF upon selling their houses.
Every time when I meet them, they will tell me that, oh, I already fully paid my HDB,
right?
So I have no worries. Then my next question will be, oh, so you fully paid your HDB by CPF or by cash?
Another series. So fast, come back.
Warm up a bit. Don't you? Don't face camera, I face camera for what? It's
Come back. Let's go. So what are you talking about today?
I think CPF topic is very... Are we treading on the line?
No, we are sharing our opinion. I think that's most important.
Opinion only.
Yeah,
this
opinion.
is like in
disclaimer.
We are just sharing our opinion on CPF policies and certain things that we need to take note when we are financing our house using CPF. This is, I think, a lot of people are not aware of a certain setback. I would say, my opinion. Certain setback about using CPF to finance our house. How much is the CPF interest rate per annum for our ordinary account?
2.6%?
2.5.
2.5%. You know why or not?
Why?
I always thinking 2.5 or 2.6 because it's important to know. But I haven't got any CPF. Nobody give me CPF for the past 15 years.
We do CPF.
Yeah, no CPF. But it is important because I think CPF is good for our clients who are working. They have the employment, give them the CPF, and they use the CPF rather than inside their account to ordinary account to fund their
don't
property.
Get me wrong, I think CPF is really a very good policy by our government when they just started it off, and also to help us have a very robust saving plans for our futures and retirement. At the same time, it is able to use to finance our housing, which is an asset that we can have it throughout our life and retirement, a place for us to stay. At least we don't see people, lesser people staying on the street.
I hope Singapore don't have. I think it's a progressive country.
I don't want to give an absolute no, but ultimately I believe they still have. But this is still work in progress, I will feel. But having this CPF ordinary account, it is a good way to save for our retirement and also at the same time be able to finance our housing, to have a place to stay. But I think there is also some danger or setback in the sense where we use CPF. Just now I asked you a question. How much is CPF interest rate for ordinary account per annum?
Yeah, you mentioned 2.5.
It's 2.5%, correct? Do you know that the amount that you use, any amount that you withdraw from CPF to pay for housing, the CPF is still calculating the 2.5% interest per annum?
I'm quite surprised that when I'm doing calculations for some clients, they give me the CPF amount that they have used for their house purchase. Then I told them to go and log in their CPF to find out the CPF that they use plus the accrued interest. Then they asked me, what is this accrued interest? It's good. It's good that they know now, rather than they don't know, that they have to pay back CPF upon selling their houses. Because the moment we use, let's say, this X amount of CPF, and over the years, there will be accrued interest that's being compounded over time. And they need to have this amount to repay back upon the sales of their house. So what is the danger here? I think the danger here is a lot of people, humans in general, don't see the impact of interest when it is minimal. But do you know that compound interest over time, 5 years, 10 years, and in the twinkling of an eye, they stay in the, let's say for example, this HDB for the past 20 years, they did not know that they have actually compound a lot and a huge amount of interest.
Oh, I have cases whereby when I log in doing the finances, doing the numbers for my client, and
Oh, so they give you the CPF and SingPass and log in
no,
right?
they log in
log in
and
with
show
you,
me,
show you,
log in and
right?
show me
Yeah,
the
okay.
account, and not I didn't get the shock lah. They got a shock
What
because
happened?
of the accrued interest compounding to be so high.
How many years are this kind of client usually stay in the house?
Usually, I would say 15 years onwards.
15 years onwards, huh?
15 years onwards is quite, they will compound. It also depends on individual lah, because it also depends on the initial down payment of their housing when they purchase, how much they have used, or the monthly mortgage, how much is the monthly mortgage and how much they use per month to repay the house. So it compounds to quite a huge amount. And in some cases, the CPF principal withdrawal amount plus the accrued interest has already surpassed the value of the house.
The value of the house. But this house is already fully paid, right? Their house is fully paid.
Some is not fully paid.
Oh,
It already surpassed the value of the house when it's not fully paid.
then how? Ah?
And this is what when they sell their house, this is what we call negative sales. Let's put it into perspective. Today, if your house value is 500,000,
500, okay.
500,000, and your principal withdrawal from your CPF plus the accrued interest add up to 550,000. There is cases
possible,
like that.
yeah,
And so
possible,
this is
depending on when they buy also.
when they buy and how much they purchase the unit for.
Then they haven't include the renovation, everything they put in also. Ah.
Correct. So it becomes, there's a negative 50,000. Of course, government comes up with a policy whereby if you were to sell, if you have negative, you can request for a waiver to not
Yeah,
pay back
that's compassionate. I think it's
Yeah,
important
compassionate.
to case by case, they review this.
However, in terms of money sense, that 50,000 is what you're supposed to have in your CPF. If we waive it off, technically this 50,000 disappear into thin air. You're supposed to have it, but waive it and it disappear.
Is there any exceptional cases where clients, because of this situation, they get notified by HDB or any other authorities that, hey, look, your property right now, your CPF and your accrued interest is nearing your valuation price or is surpassing? Shouldn't they have an indicator to send them a reminder that they need to review and
I think
see?
it's very difficult for the governing body to do that because it's really case by case. Every individual house or every individual family has a different profile, different usage, different amount. In the particular house has a different value, different lease years, different location.
Wow, a lot of factors.
So all these factors, you can't have a government body that notify you in that that individual extent to be so detailed that it's time for you to take a look at your property portfolio. So I think it is good for owners to really periodically check their principal withdrawal and also their accrued interest, how much they have already compound. Then and also compare to the current value of their property, whether it is a time for them to we don't say upgrade, we
Review,
don't say
probably
downgrade.
review and be aware.
Swap property or whatsoever, because when you swap property, you have the opportunity to restart the thing.
It's quite interesting to also see a couple of handful of homeowners who still think that they have already paid for their HDB long time ago and they are expecting in time to come when they sell, they can get back all the cash. Yeah, and to realize after doing some calculation, there are cases where they have when they sell their property, they won't take back any cash.
Correct.
That's like, wow, I've worked so hard to pay off my HDB, and when I sell, I cannot take back cash. What is this?
I have consumers that tell me that every time when I meet them, they will tell me that, oh, I already fully paid my HDB,
Right.
So I have no worries. Then my next question will be, so you fully paid your HDB by CPF or by
cash? Yes.
So that is a very key difference. So if your payment is mostly by cash, so the accrued interest may not be that high. then you will be able to see some a bit more cash coming back to you when you sell off the property. But if you were to fully pay your property by CPF, then it's a definite
Then the
negative
interest will
slope.
keep rolling, keep
Because
rolling.
if the value of the house is, take for example again, 500,000, and you have used a principal amount of 500,000, accrued interest 2.5% per annum is definitely surpassing 500,000.
Actually, I got one case also. Recently, there's this banquet unit that we are marketing at around 500. So the CPF that they have used so far plus accrued interest due today is close to 400. So when we did the calculation, I told them, look, today if you don't sell your property, it's fine. Okay, but you need to know what is the accrued interest over the next 5 years. And we did a calculation for them. It adds up to close to 480,000. Close to.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So if the value, let's say, remains at 500, okay. If they sell, they can take back like 20,000. But if the value of the house, let's say, adjusts to become only about 400, 470, that's where they will end up in a situation where they sell their property at zero cash return or probably even so-called what you call the negative sale. It's a very, very dangerous borderline case.
And also, I would hope that a lot of HDB owners would really come to think about it, whereby, yes, you may have fully paid your HDB, or you may fully paid your house, whichever, be it HDB or private. But do you foresee yourself staying in the same house until your end?
End of the world.
Until your end. I think because even if you want to stay until retirement, there is still possibility that you want to change house. For example, right sizing.
Okay.
Maybe you are old, you don't want to have such a big place, or your children has already married, they don't stay together, you don't need such a big place, or cleaning is a chore to you at a certain age, and you don't want to maintain such a big place. You may want to right size. At that point of time, if you were to sell your current home, and you would probably have an expectation that, I would take out some money.
I was thinking that I want to sell and take out some money
for retirement, keep some in pocket and things like that. But after calculation, you realize that, technically you do not get any cash.
But I got retirement fund.
Yeah, you have retirement
That means
fund.
I can only use my retirement fund. I cannot depend on my property to take care of me.
So this may cause some concern to certain people, whereby they are expecting to get some cash when they sell, but they eventually do not get, and they still have the so-called disappearing amount after the waiver. So this is the money that you lose, in a sense, to me. And also at the same time, for those that may want to sell due to certain emergency in life, some events that happen in life or emergency, they need cash for a certain particular things. They may not have this option anymore because of the accrued interest. So this is something that I think there's pros and cons in terms of using CPF to finance the house, and at which point of time you should really, really, really review whether you should still continue staying at this particular house, or you want to swap property to restart the process again to help you maintain the kind of value that you are able to take back when you sell the house.
We upgrade, let's say I upgrade to a private property. Actually, it's also the same thing, isn't it? That the CPF also continue to build up the accrued interest versus the HDB that I own. So why is it so much safer for people to upgrade from a HDB to a private and not worry too much about the accrued interest when they are already in a private property?
I think one big difference is the quantum.
What am I quantum?
The value of the house is very different. The value of a HDB is, of course, I cannot say always below $1 million, but it's because there's a lot of $1 million HDB now.
Yeah, a couple of them.
A couple of them. But the general HDB pricing is around 500 to 600,000. should be the median price. The CPF accrued interest plus the principal withdrawal amount, right, surpassing 500 to 600,000, right, is very easy and very fast. But compared to...
Oh yes, you are using, let's say they both use about 100 each, CPF, total about 300 each.
Correct.
Then compound, wow. Can be quite fast.
Compared to a private property, when the value of the property is slightly above $1 million, to compound it to be above $1 million, it takes longer time. So that is the reason why most private property owners do not have this kind of issue whereby the CPF accrued interest surpass the value of their property. Then at the same time, we are looking at the pricing of the market value of HDB, the price movement of HDB versus the price movement of a private property. The price movement of HDB is more stabilized compared to the price of a private property. The price of private property generally move upwards because of the market.
Inflation, it's supposed to go in line with inflation, the gradual increase
Inflation,
over time.
yes, and
where HDB, yesterday I pulled out a chart, to show my clients also this scenario. We look at the HDB trend is that it's flat. Generally, it's over flat. You look at the overall past about 10, 15 years are generally quite flat, which is good. That means the government is doing a very good job to control the public housing.
Correct.
Then the private is like inching up, which is also good because private properties, I believe, as a form of investment and own stay, they should go according in line to hedge against inflation. That's why private property owners, a lot of them, they buy properties to hedge it. But I think the public housing owners, they have to be well informed that it is very risky to use their HDB public housing as a form of hedge against inflation. Which you mentioned also time that if the prices continue to be stable, which is exactly what the bodies wants to maintain, which is good for our future generation, so that public housing remains affordable. And for those invested in public housing, private housing, it slowly goes up over time in overall trend. Then our money in terms of the CPF accrued interest will also be safer, because we are growing together with the property.
Correct. So that is also my opinion why most of the private property owner do not have this issue compared to the public housing owner, which is the HDB owners. They will likely face this issue when they stay in a particular house for too long. I think this is something that that is a bit concerning that a lot of people a lot of HDB owners do not understand the policies and do not understand why when they sell their house they are not able to get back cash. Because in the layman terms, I buy at 200,000, I sell at 400,000, I should get 200,000. But that is not the case. That is not the case. That is the case only if you pay by cash. But it's not the case when you pay by CPF.
I think we are doing a very good job by being on the ground with consumers. Like every week, you organize a couple of times a series of meet the residents through door knocking at the public housing areas, and you educate the clients, the homeowners, the possible scenario that they are in to better understand where they are, what are their options.
Yes.
And of course, this kind of information are easily available online also. What is the what we call that, the impact of accrued interest in CPF in the public housing. In my opinion, as we are seeing this video online, it's going to be online. But the advice of people giving online sometimes are too much information. It clouds consumers. What is real? What is not? What is neutral? What is professional? Too many information.
Yes.
So when I see that you guys lead the team on the ground to educate clients, it gives them a much more personal feel, a much more relatable feel. And I can see the good job that we are doing by being there on the ground to tell customer to share. Like some of our partners say, we are not here to ask you to sell your property. That's not our intention. Our intention here is to create awareness.
I think ultimately is we are trying to share certain knowledge or information with as many people as possible. Because we have already seen certain cases that actually quite unpleasant and quite sad for them because of their decision in their early years. So we are trying to prevent that. in today's generation. I think today's generation, we are more savvy, we are more money wise and things like that. So
Have to be,
have
we
to
have
be,
to
ah,
be,
have to be. That is the reason why more and more younger generation are going into investment, are looking at properties, are looking at all sorts of all these money, wealth growing tools.
These vehicles are important. I was serving this client. Wow, 28 years old. Haven't married. Already planning for their properties now the next 5, 10, 15 years. So this is, wow, I am very inspired by this young couple. In fact, they have the possibility of going for sales of balance flat. But in fact, after understanding the situation and how they want their future to be, they have decided to go straight into a private property. So it's very inspiring for these young people.
I think today, if you are in your 30s, 40s, and you are still and you already own a HDB flat, or even you purchase it from HDB, a BTO, it is really, I think, a good time to really consider the progression, because if you don't do that, you may lose out to the younger generation, whereby they are able to progress even faster, or even their portfolio may be even better than yours, because although some of the residents or some of the owners have sentimental value to the house, but we always have to plan slightly forward for the future, to think that, hey, is this the right move to make for the future, or are we gonna go into our 50s and 60s and look back and say, oh, I should have done this.
I should have done this. That is the most painful statement I think anybody could have done. If we know what we can do today, that we can make informed decisions. The painful thing is, I wish someone would have told me this earlier on. One client scolded me. He said, Paul, why you never tell me this earlier? I said, tell you what earlier? There is this accrued interest going on that I have to sell my HDB at a negative sale. And I'm like, okay, I understand. Of course, they are scolding me, not really scolding me, because I only know them after they are already in such a situation. So I felt that I have done a good thing. Okay. Same thing I told them, it's never too late to understand where you are. Okay, we still have options to move forward. Of course, the later on we get in years, usually based on my experience, couple in their 30s find it easier to make the change versus a couple in their 40s and so on versus a couple in their 50s. Okay, the later we grow in years, the harder it is to adapt change.
Yes.
Yeah. So the early on we know about this, the better that we can see what are our options to move forward, to plan for a better retirement years ahead. Rather than be just unaware, not knowing, I don't want to think about it, I want to see where it goes, it shouldn't be the case, there should be someone out there taking care of me.
There should be someone out there taking care of me. I think this is something that a lot of Singaporeans will have this in mind. But of course, the hard truth is, up to a certain extent, there really will be no one there to take care of you.
Angel will take care of us. But we have to do our own due diligence. And I think the angel is, who? The agents are knocking on the door and telling those HDB owners what situation they are in, so that they can make informed decisions.
Correct. I think we also see a lot of HDB owners that even in their 50s, they are still open to changes. I think this...
Yeah, good, very good.
So this, I think this depends on the openness of the new ideas and the changes in life that you willing to take the step to make. It, like you say, it's never too late. It's never too late, as long as you are willing to take the make the step and take the decision. I think that is very important to a lot of homeowners, be it HDB owners or private owners. Same. I think being stagnant is no longer the way to go in current market, current generation.
Life has to keep moving forward. Even my parents at their age right now, they are still working. I mean, not really working, but they want to just keep working, just keep progressing forward, keep learning new things, exploring new places. They are still progressing, moving forward, although they can comfortably retire. But if we retire too early at an age, really nothing much to do.
Yeah. I think we eventually want to be able to still continue having activities in our life for the sake of passing time or hobby, but we do not want ourselves to be in a situation where we want to still continue work in our late years
Because we still need the money.
Because we still need to.
Yeah.
To
And
survive.
working hard, working smart, easier said than done. So what is really working hard? Working hard is just working hard to just pay off my HDB, but not knowing that there is such a situation going on. But working smart is really have our assets that's growing together with us. Okay, simple concept, not easy to explain. But as long as I think both of us or even people out there who have an open heart willing to listen, they can always see better options that they can plan for a better future.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good today. I think it's today a very fruitful session. It's a very sensitive topic that we spoke about. But of course, why are we talking about sensitive topic? Because everyone deserves to know the truth. What's really going on, what's happening in their situation.
Yes. I think it's a pain point that to some people that we are pressing on. But I think it's good to able to share this kind of information to more people that they do not follow in the footsteps of those that already being in this situation.
Yeah.
I think we have more interesting topic that's going to come up in our subsequent episode.
Like and share and subscribe.
Keep like, keep share, and subscribe.
Okay,
Thank you.
see you soon.
See
man.
you soon.